Right. So I hope you all have gone through. Now the first one. Organizations are bureaucracies itself. Now what is a bureaucracy? How would you identify a bureaucracy? You all have learned about bureaucratic organizations. In some of you may have heard about bureaucratic organizations uh, in certain management modules which you have learned. Can you tell me what do you mean by a bureaucracy? I'm not talking about bureaucratic organizations. I'm talking about bureaucracy. Right? What is a bureaucracy? No idea. Now, simply put, bureaucracy is to understand in a simplest way, right? We can say that bureaucracies are, complex systems and multi-layered systems, right? With say multiple layers of processes and systems within an organization, right? So in these bureaucracies you find clear cut divisions of labor. What do you mean by division of labor? In division of labor, what we talk about is uh, work is separated into many different tasks, right? Where each task is performed by different people who have different types of skill sets, right? Um, it can be a different individual or a set of persons or a group of persons, right? So work is divided or work is separated into many different parts within these groups of people or to individual people, right? So what is an example for division of labor? Is there division of labor in day-to-day life? Do you experience division of labor? I think we have several answers. Yeah, so now bureaucracy, some people might understand is a system of government, but here we are not looking at a system of government where many decisions are taken by officials. That is actually, a more politically or higher order level definition, right? Here we are looking at bureaucracies in organization perspective, right? So here when we identify organization as bureaucracy, we usually say that it's very complex and it has several layers of systems, several layers of processes where people are segregated to different works based on their skill sets, right? Now, what division of labor makes at the end is, like I was talking about, it gets the maximum use of a specific skill set unique to a person or a group of person, and when they keep on and on doing this specified task, what happens in the end? අපි නිශ්චිත කාර්යයක් නැවත නැවත කරන්න කියලා තවරනකොට කාට හරි, right? ඒකෙන් මොකක්ද අන්තිමට ඇතිවන end result එක organization එකක් ඇතුලේ? එකම task එක නැවත නැවත කරනවා. Yes, we have an example. Garment sectors, cutting, sewing, packing is very good, right? In garment sectors, you find this division of labor. Ne? Then some people are specializing in cutting. They only do that. Then sewing, uh, one part. Then putting the pieces of the garment together, one part. Assembly line method, right? You can, if you can recall your memory, also where we see these divisions of labor where one set of people are specified in one task only. And if you take manufacturing a car, also the same, right? Some people might be assigned with the part of designing, and some people might be testing the car, right? And some people might be working on assembling the car, right? So likewise, divisions of labor, right? This is a feature of organization. There are bureaucracies, there are divisions of labor. And what happens in the end when people keep on doing the same task over and over? They become what? Specialized in that task, right? When specialization happens, as a result, you can achieve what? Efficiency, right? So I think you have also learned about this in your economics modules in addition to management course modules as well. So here we are focusing on that particular feature. Then the next point, what it says is, now organizations are arranged in a hierarchical format. What is the special feature of a hierarchy? What do you find in a hierarchy? You find different levels, right? Hierarchy එක අපි කියන අපි levels තියෙනවා. එතකොට organization එකක ඉන්න specialist, right? Employees ලා මේ hierarchy එකේ තමයි organize වෙලා ඉන්නේ. Right? So this hierarchy, in different levels, you have different authorities specific to different job roles and positions, different levels, right? So in this hierarchy, every person is accountable to someone, right? For example, in an organization, you may have employees, you may have supervisors, you may have managers, senior managers or assistant managers, right? And after managers, you might have the CEO, you have the board of directors likewise. All these are positions and roles are arranged in a hierarchy, right? Just think of a pyramid structure, which we usually refer to when defining an organization. So in this hierarchy, there is a authority, levels of authority, right? Different levels of authorities are there, right? The level of authority increases as you keep on moving towards the higher levels of the hierarchy, right? So in this hierarchy, every person is accountable to someone, right? The lower level employees, they are accountable to their supervisors. The supervisor is accountable to their manager, right? And if we go on towards the higher levels of the hierarchy, you can find how each people are accountable to someone else. What do you mean by accountable to someone? Accountability කියන එකෙන් මොකක්ද අපි අදහස් කරන්නේ? Accountable වෙනවා කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? In your understanding, what is accountability? Can you elaborate on the word responsible a little bit more? Responsibility to carry out assigned work, answerability of actions, responsible outcomes. Any other answers? What is meant by accountability? Any other ideas? Duty to report, obligation to perform assigned works. Yes, I think when all of your answers are put together, yes, there's a correct answer. So in accountability, simply put, what happens is you are in a condition where you are responsible for or you are answerable to the tasks, activities, processes that are assigned to you. Right now, I have an accountability to deliver my lecture to you accurately, right? In a way that adds value to you, right? So I am accountable for doing my service, right? So in an organization, now the cash collector, let's say a bank teller, is accountable for the cash collection at the end of the day, right? It's one of the tasks that is assigned to him. He's accountable to maybe a senior supervisor or a manager for the amount of cash collected within the bank, right? You are answerable to your actions. You're responsible to the tasks and actions assigned to you, right? So it is actually a feature of an organization, right? Then the third one, authority is limited to specific actions governed by abstract rules or procedures. Now we understood there is a hierarchy, there is authority in this hierarchy, different levels of authorities. Now this authority is limited to specific actions governed by abstract rules or procedures. Now, the authority of an employee, the authority of an individual within an organization is limited to a specific set of actions which he or she is expected to fulfill and which are agreed by the rules and procedures within the organization. Organization එකටම ආවේනික වෙච්ච නීති රීති සම්ප්‍රදායන් නීති රීති තියෙනවා, right, procedures තියෙනවා. මේ රීති වලින් අපි ස්පෙસિෆයි කරලා තියෙන action set එකකට තමයි තමන්ගේ authority එක limited වෙන්නේ ඕනෙම organization එකක individual කෙනෙක්ගේ, right? So they cannot supersede that authority, they cannot go beyond that authority, right? You have to always limit yourselves within those actions governed by organizational rules. Now, for example, simply put, right, let's think in an organization, there's a finance division, right? So the finance manager, there's a maximum limit to which he or she can authorize checks, let's think, right? මෙන්න මේ සීමාවෙන් ඇතුළත විතරයි authority එක තියෙන්නේ checks issue කරන්න authorize කරන්න finance manager ට company එකේ. එතකොට ඒක organisation එක ඇතුලේ rules set එකකින් ඇතිවෙච්ච authority එකක් යාට. නේ? ඒතර ඒ සීමාවෙන් පිටතට යන්න බෑ. ඒතර ඒ authority එක limit වෙනවා කියන්නේ ඒකයි. Right? That is why we say authority is limited to certain rules and procedures that are agreed within the organization. Right? So these rules create a system of impartial and universal decision making. So because of these rules and because of these procedures that are there within the organization can create a system where impartial decision making can happen. When everybody agrees with these rules, then the decisions that you take don't have to be impartial, don't have to be partial, right? You can be impartial if you're abiding by the law. You don't have to take anyone's side, you don't have to favor anyone specially. If you are following the law, then it ensures that you are following an impartial justified decision making, right? අපි කියන සමබර විදිහට අපිට decision making කරන්න උදව් කරනවා මේ rules procedures නිසා, right? Organization, the fourth feature is here, what the point says is organizations always try to hire and promote employees based on their technical qualifications, right? Maybe different skills that they possess, certain professional qualifications that they possess, right? And not based on personal connections, right? So I hand it over to you to decide how true that is, right? If this context may change from organization to organization, from context, business context to context, this may change. But generally, in theory, we say that a feature of the organization is that they try to hire and promote employees based on the technical qualifications and professionalism that they possess, not simply because of a personal connection or because of a family connection. So you can think to what extent that is true, right, when it comes to the practical or the real world, right? But in general, we identify that as a feature. So we discussed 4 features of organizations here. Then another important feature is that organization is devoted to the principle of efficiency. What do you mean by efficiency? Maximizing output using limited inputs. Also, another way of looking at efficiency is achieving a given level of output using a lower amount of input than earlier, right? It might be increasing higher amount of output using limited input as well, right? So all organizations are, most of the organizations, right? Most of the organizations in general are devoted to this efficiency principle, right? How do we maximize our return on investment? How do we maximize our profit? How do we maximize our sales? How do we maximize our, let's say, earnings, right? How do we maximize our return on assets? So based on a given level of inputs, right? With the minimum amount of inputs, by using the minimum amount of input, how can we achieve this? That is a principle that many organizations actually operate on. That is basically why most organizations operate, right? Okay. Then, so these are now what we have discussed so far are generally observed features to any organization. hari ඕනෙම organization එකක දකින්න පුළුවන් common features තමයි දැන් අපි ඔය කලින් features පහක් කතා කරේ. හරි. then ඊට අමතරව සමහර features තියෙනවා. Other features of organizations include the business process, organization culture, organization politics, surrounding environments, structure, goals, constituencies, and leadership styles. Now, these features are actually, if you compare with the earlier features, you will see that these features are unique to businesses. They change from business to business, right? Why? Because business processes are unique to that particular business. Based on the nature of the organization, the nature of business processes change. And also the culture. It is essentially something unique to a specific organization. Politics also the same, right? Organization politics differ from organization to organization. Then surrounding environments, right? The environment which the organization surrounds, it also um, changes based on the industry maybe, right? Based on the nature of the organization maybe. It changes. And structure, goals, constituencies, leadership styles, all these things are also features, unique features to organization, right? So all these features affect the kinds of information systems used by organizations. දැන් මේ කතා කරපු හැම feature එකක්ම බලපානවා organization එකේ මොන විදිහේ information systems ද භාවිතා වෙන්නේ කියන කාරණයට පිළිතුරු සපයද්දී, right? So the nature of the information systems, the kinds of information systems that are used by organizations heavily depend on all these features which we talked about, right? Okay. So therefore, managers need to know about those features in order to build and use information systems successfully. So if an organization wants to successfully build an information system that is compatible with their organization or that gives the maximum expected level of output, which helps them to achieve the goals, the objectives which they set for the organization, right? Then that organization's management surely has to have an idea about all these different features of their own organization. අපේ organization එකේ processes කොහොමද හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ? අපේ structure එක කොයි විදියද? අපේ organization එකේ culture එක කොයි විදියද? අපි මොන විදිහේ පරිසරයකද මොන විදිහේ ව්‍යාපාරික පරිසරයක්ද අපිට තියෙන්නේ? හරි? ඒ වගේ තියෙන බලවේග කොයි විදියටද අපිට බලපාන්නේ? අපේ organization එකේ මොන වගේ politics ද තියෙන්නේ? මොන වගේ goals ද අපිට achieve කරගන්න ඕනේ? මොන විදිහේ නායකත්ව ගුණාංගද අපේ organization එක ඇතුළේ අපි දකින්න. දැන් leadership styles කිව්වම මේක වෙනස් වෙන organization එකකින් organize. There are autocratic leadership style, then there might be authoritative leadership, then there might be, cooperative or let's say coaching style of leadership. You all may have learned about all these things in your management modules. So based on this nature of leadership also, the nature of information system you introduce may change, right? So that's why we say that management essentially needs to have a very good idea about how these things are interconnected with each other, right? So I hope you understand what we have discussed so far. Any questions or anything that you don't understand, you can ask before we move on to the next sections. You can pop in your questions if you have any. No questions? questions, no? Hi. Then let's move on to routines and business processes. Now, if you remember, this is one of those special features of organizations, which I mentioned here. Here, other features of organizations include business process, culture, politics, environments. Now, we are going to look at some of these special features. Right? First one is routines and business processes. You know what is business processes now? We have learned about that in earlier lesson, right? So, routines. Routines, when it comes to the business world, are also known as SOPs or standard operating procedures, right? Now, what do you mean by routines? Precise rules, procedures, practices that have been developed to cope with virtually all expected situations, right? A set of rules, a set of procedures and practices that help the organization to deal with or to mediate with all expected situations that the organization or then individual might come across with in day-to-day business cases, right? If we elaborate on that, as employees learn these routines, they become highly productive and efficient. Now, can you give me a good example where these routines are observed? අපි routine එකක් follow කරන අවස්ථා මොනවාද? Yeah. සාමාන්‍ය ජීවිතයේදී ඔයගොල්ලන් routines පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ කොයි වගේ අවස්ථාවලදී? routines තියනවාද ඔයාලට? මේ දවස්වල මොකද routine එක? What is your routine these days? උදේට නැගිට්ටාන් පස්සේ මොනවද කරන්නේ? Yeah. You might be maybe going to the washroom, right? You're brushing your teeth, you're washing your face, you're having your tea, you're having your breakfast. මේවත් එක්තරා දුරකට ඔයගලගේ routines තමයි, right? You are used to do these things over and over again, right? Now let's forget the precise rules part, right? But this is a precise set of procedures and practices that you follow every day, right? It's your routine, your morning routine. If you take a workout, right? If you are a person who's going to the gym, you have a routine to do workout, right? You might be doing your warm-up exercises. You might be having different set of routines, right? Maybe based on the goal that you're trying to achieve, right? So there's a workout routine. So likewise, organizations also have routines, right? Yeah, exactly. Now your friend is saying wake up, brushing teeth, taking breakfast, going to lectures. That is also part of your routine these days, no? Right. So likewise in organizations also you find routines. Now, for example, let's say you're going to a hospital, right? The hospital එකේ routines ටිකක් follow කරනවානේ නේද? The receptionist, she has a set of standard operating procedures or routines that she should follow, right? She might be taking down your name, taking down your details, then maybe checking for your appointment, right? Appointment details, confirming to you whether you have done the payment, giving you information about which room you should go to, right? And when you go to the doctor's, the consulting room, near the room, there is a different set of procedures happening there. A nurse might come to you, ask for your previous medical report, ask for your appointment bill, right? And take down some notes, present your reports to the consultant if he's there, and sometimes measure your weight and height, all these things if necessary before going to the doctor. So a set of routines, a standing operating procedures that he or she usually follows, right? So likewise, these are based on, these are designed in such a way which helps a person to cope with virtually all expected situations. That means usually occurring situations that he or she might have to deal with or cope with in a day-to-day basis, routines help them to deal with such situations, right? That is how routines have been developed, right? Standard operating procedures, in other words. Now, what happens when employees keep on adhering to these routines over and over again? Like we learned earlier, they become highly productive and efficient. And the firm is able to reduce its cost over time as efficiency increases. Now, when a person keeps on doing the same task over and over again, they become efficient in doing that. No? Now, let's say in a billing section. So when he or she keeps on doing that task again and again, he or she develops proficiency in working with the system, and he or she might be able to quickly look up, right? Quickly look up the billing list, right? Any details and cross-reference with any other systems that he or she should process and deliver the information necessary to you in a very short period of time. Why? He or she is very proficient with the system. They know the steps that are involved in the system, so knows how to deliver it to you, right? So they become very efficient in what they are doing, right? So when this happens, their labor productivity increases and the firm is able to reduce their costs over time, right? The time taken to complete a task is low, therefore more work can be done, right? So therefore efficiency can be increased and the cost can be reduced over time, right? So these concepts you have learned in detail in your economics modules as well, right? So I hope you understand how that happens. So let me know if you want me to explain it to you further. Business processes are collections of such routines. Now, business processes are collections of these kinds of different routines, right? Business firm in turn is a collection of business processes. So that is how the entire organization is actually put in simplest terms. If you look at organizations, they are nothing but a collection of routines if you look at it in this way. Why? You have a set of routines, you have business processes which are created by those routines, right? And a collection of different business processes create a business firm, right? Simply. All right. So, you also have to understand these routines and business processes are unique to organizations and they can be designed in such a way which achieves maximum efficiency and which ensures maximum labor productivity as well. Right, so this diagram also tries to show you these different types of business processes, right? There are business process 1, 2, 3 and n means there can be number of business processes like this. Now these individual spheres, and you can see small spheres in this business process. These are what? These are SOPs or routines within an organization. Individual routines here. So all of these collected together creates a business firm, right? All organizations are composed of individual routines and behaviors, a collection of which make up a business process. A collection of routines make a business process. Collection of business process make the business firm. We learned this in the earlier slide. New information system applications require that individual routines and business processes change to achieve high levels of organization performance. Now, when you apply information system within organization, right? When you're developing a system or when you're trying to rebuild an old system, these individual processes and routines should change in such a way which helps the organization to achieve a maximum or the optimum level of organization performance that they are expecting out of the system, right? Sometimes now in the first chapter also we elaborated on this concept. Now you are implementing an information system, but if your processes and routines are not designed in a way which helps you to achieve the maximum performance of this system, then it's in vain. Your effort is in vain. That is why we say you should redesign sometimes your business processes and routines which is compatible with your system and which helps you to achieve the maximum level of efficiency, right? Okay. Then the second feature is organization politics. The second special feature which we are going to talk about. Now, what do you mean by organization politics? In simple terms, what do you think organization politics are? Now, here it says people in organizations occupy different positions with different specialties, concerns, and perspectives. That is clear, right? You already know about this. Now, there are different people who are having different positions. In these different positions, people are specialized in different things, right? Might be in accounting, might be in marketing, in sales, production, business consultancy, right? They are having different positions, specializing in different areas. And also, different people have different concerns that they are trying to achieve, right? When your specialties, when your positions change, the things that you try to achieve as an employee also change. That is clear, right? And also your perspectives are essentially different. The way you look at things are different, right? What happens as a result? They naturally have divergent viewpoints. That means they have diverging perceptions. That means they don't all have the same point of view. They don't have the same mindset. They don't have the same perspective. They have different ways of looking at the organization. They have different ways of looking at business processes, different ways of looking at how work is coordinated and how resources are allocated, right? ඕගනයිසේෂන් එක ඇතුලේ ඉන්න ඉන්ඩිවිජුවල්ස්ලා ඕගනයිසේෂන් එක දිහා බලන විදිය වෙනස්, බිස්නස් ප්‍රොසෙසස් දිහා බලන විදිය වෙනස්, ඒගොල්ලන් ඔතොරිටි එක ඕගනයිස් වෙලා තියෙන විදිහ, රිසෝසස් ඕගනයිස් වෙලා තියෙන විදිහ, එතකොට ඕගනයිසේෂන් එක ඇතුලේ ඉන්ෆර්මේෂන් ඩිස්ට්‍රිබියුට් වෙලා තියෙන විදිය ගැන දකින විදිහ වෙනස්. ඒගොල්ලන් තියෙන view points වෙනස්. මේ වගේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ තියෙන දැක්ම වෙනස්. හරි? මේ වෙනස් වීම නිසා මොකක්ද ඇති වෙන්නේ? What happens because of these differences? These differences result in political struggle for resources, competition, and conflict within every organization. So, because of these differences within people, right, there occurs a political struggle. අපි කියන political struggle එකක් ඇති වෙනවා මේ කියන වෙනස් වෙනස් දෘෂ්ටි කෝණයන් වෙනස් වෙනස් දැක්මක් තියෙන නිසා political struggle එකක් ඇති වෙනවා. මේ political struggle එක ඇති වෙන්නේ මොන සම්බන්ධයෙන්ද? For resources, competition, and conflict within every organization, right? There might be political struggle for resources. There might be for example, now one set of people might be thinking that okay, this, now let's say hari saralaw mehම හිතමු ඔන්න අලුතෙන්ම PCs ටිකක් ගේනවා ඕගනයිසේෂන් එකට. හරිද? එතකොට මේක දැන් කාටද දෙන්න ඕන? දැන් අලුතෙන්ම highly sophisticated technologically advanced laptops එහෙම නැත්නම් PCs ටිකක් ඕගනයිසේෂන් එක procure කරනවා. ගන්න මිලදී ගන්නවා. හරි? දැන් මේක distribute කරන්න ඕනේ කාටද? මාකටිං එකේ අය හිතනවා ඒගොල්ලන්ට. සේල්ස් එකේ අය මාකටිං එකේ අය හිතනවා ඒගොල්ලන්ට. මොකද ඒගොල්ලන්ට මාකටිං ඇනලිටික්ස් වැඩ කරන්න තියෙනවා. ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඩිසයිනින් වැඩ කරන්න තියෙනවා. ෆයිනෑන්ස් එකේ අය හිතනවා ඒගොල්ලන්ට හයි පර්ෆෝමන්ස් ප්‍රොසෙසින් පවර් එකක් ඕන වෙනවා. ෆයිනෑන්ෂල් ට්‍රාන්සැක්ෂන්ස් වැඩි වෙන්න ඕගනයිසේෂන් එක එක්ස්පෑන්ඩ් වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒගොල්ලන් ERPs ඇඩ්වාන්ස්ඩ් ERPs යූස් කරනවා. ඒ නිසා හයි පර්ෆෝමන්ස් කම්පියුටර්ස් ඒගොල්ලන්ට ලැබෙන්න ඕනි කියලා ඒගොල්ලන් හිතනවා. රයිට්? අපි හිතමු IT එකේ ඉන්න හිතනවා නෑ ඔය කාටවත් නෙමෙයි මේක අපිටයි ලැබෙන්න ඕනේ. මොකද අපිට තමයි knowledge එක තියෙන්නේ මේක සම්බන්ධයෙන්. අපිට මේක සම්බන්ධයෙන් skills තියෙනවා. අපි තමයි organization එකටම serve කරන්නේ. So there's a struggle for resources. Can you see? So because of these diverging viewpoints, there can be struggle for resources. And because of that, there can be competition. Competition among departments, competition among people, right? Between people also that can happen. Within the same department, one person thinks, no, I am the person who is entitled to these machines. Another person thinks, no, why should the leadership give it to him? He should give it to me because I'm better qualified, because I need this more to do my job right. So competition is there, right? And conflicts occur due to this. Viewpoints වෙනස් වෙනවා. එතකොට resources වලට මිනිස්සු struggle කරනවා. හරි departments වෙන්න පුළුවන් individuals විදිහට ඒගොල්ලෝ struggle කරනවා. competition එකක් ඇති වෙනවා. ඒ නිසා conflict එකක් ඇති වෙනවා. හරි මේකට තමයි අපි කියන්නේ organization politics කියලා. This is what we call organization politics. Right? So because of these conflicts, what might happen? Now people might be trying to get more access to information, right? If they don't have to access to information, there might be struggle, there might be conflicts. If they don't have access to certain resources, there might be conflicts. If they don't have access to certain decision making rights, right, certain let's say privileges, there might be struggle, right? So therefore, because of this, we say political resistance occurs. Now, when political resistance occurs, it is one of the greatest difficulties of bringing about organizational change. Now, if the organization don't balance these conflicts and struggles well, there might be a political resistance coming from certain parties, right? So especially the development of new information systems which result in significant changes in business objectives, strategy, business processes and procedures. So because of this political resistance, organization may face a huge difficulty when they try to introduce new technology to the organization. Let's assume it's a new information system. If there's a political resistance coming from the organization, then it might be very difficult for organization to implement this successfully within the organization. So why might there be political resistance when you try to introduce an information system? Maybe because this new system brings many different changes in business objectives, the way they work, their current strategy, their current business processes, their privileges, the procedures, their rights to access to information, right? Their job positions even, right? The information system එකක් නිසා ආයතනයේ තියෙන වත්මන් ව්‍යාපාර ක්‍රියාවලි වලට, ආයතනයේ වර්තමාන ස්ට්‍රක්චර් එකට, ආයතනයේ තියෙන ක්‍රියාපටිපාටි වගේම ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ තියෙන rights වලට, privileges වලට වෙනස්කම් වෙනවා නම් organization එක පැත්තෙන් යම් මිනිස්සු පැත්තෙන් individuals ලා වෙන්න පුළුවන්, කණ්ඩායමක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, political resistance එකක් ඇති වෙනවා මේ information system එක implement කරනවාට. ඒකට හොඳම උදාහරණයක් තමයි sometime back in these government organizations, they tried to introduce this fingerprint scanning system to record attendance, right? These biometric readers to record attendance. Earlier this, how did these institutions used to record attendance? By using manual attendance, right? Attendance register. But when this was introduced, there was a huge resistance from the administrative parts. It happened even within the university system, it happened, right? People objected to it so heavily, right? So they refused to work. There were very heavy concerns, even some struggles there, and as well as some action from certain industrial unions and such. So there was a very heavy resistance. It was anyway institutionalized after some time, after negotiations, and after anyway this was implemented. However, there was a very, very big resistance. Why? Because of this new fingerprint scanning system, there might be changes, changes to many things that they are used to follow in the current practice, right? So this can happen in any instance. Due to some information systems, for instance, information rights might be given to lower levels of employees. So some higher level employees might not like that. They might resist, right? And also some information privileges might be taken away from someone and given to someone else due to a new information system, right? So there might be resistance. Some people may not like that. So how can an organization ensure least political resistance is there? Now, political resistance is not something which is completely bad, right? That also you have to understand. Now, some degree of political resistance has to be there in order to, maintain order. Sometimes there might be certain things that the management doesn't see, right? That is also there. But if it gets to an unhealthy level of resistance, then it might hinder the organization from implementing good technological solutions within the organization. If it comes to that point, it's bad, right? So in order to ensure that it does not come to an unhealthy level of resistance, always when introducing these kinds of information systems, the management should be concerned that there is a balance in distribution of information, a balance in distribution of resources, and also they should ensure collaborative work practices or collaborative work behavior are promoted. They should ensure inclusion of all parties, right? And decision making process um, should be done with the involvement of as many opinions as possible of people who are concerned, right? So there are many things that the organization also has to consider when it comes to implementing our information systems without going to a high level of political resistance. So here what we try to look at is how organizational politics can affect the relationship between information systems and organization. Right? So I hope that is clear to you. Right. Then let's also look at organizational culture, right? So the last feature that we will be discussing today, organizational culture. So this includes a set of assumptions that defines goals and products. Now put this definition away. Simply put, tell me, what is your understanding of organizational culture? ඕගොල්ලන් කොහොමද සංවිධාන සංස්කෘතිය එහෙම නැත්නම් organizational culture එක දිහා ඕගොල්ලන් කොහොමද බලන්නේ? කොහොමද ඕගොල්ලන් නිර්වචනය කරන්නේ culture කියන එක? මේ definition එක අමතක කරන්න. What is your understanding of organization culture? Right, we have an answer. Okay, somebody says it's a collection of values. Can a little bit more added to that? ඒක උත්තරේ එක part එකක්. Values shared in the organization. We can develop that answer more. There are more things that comes into a culture. Values, norms, rules. තව ටිකක් big කරලා තියෙන උත්තරේ values, norms, rules can be included. Yes. දෙන්න බලන්න මට තව complete answer එකක්. Okay, I think there's a copy paste answer from the internet, I think, but that's okay as long as it's correct. Right here, proper way to behave within the organization consists of shared beliefs and values established by leaders, communicated and reinforced through various methods, shaping employee perceptions. Okay. Did you individually think of that entire answer? Right. A set of values, beliefs, norms in the organization that make the company what it is, good, general customs and beliefs of a particular group of people, good, values, norms, and roles which are coming from previous years. So, right, right, okay. Yes, so when all your answers are put together, yes, it's correct. Right, so that's sarala in very simplest terms, right? What is culture? The way of doing things around here, right? If you try to elaborate it a little bit more, yes, it can include, like you very correctly said, values, beliefs, expectations, assumptions, which guide the behavior and actions of team members, which inform the behavior of actions and behavior and actions of team members, and which guides the behavior of organization as a whole. Right? So these values, beliefs, and assumptions have been there in the organization for a long time. They have been following it for a long time, and as a result, they have been established as a set of way of doing work within the organization. Right? So here also, we have tried to define culture in this way. Encompasses a set of assumptions defining goals and products. So these assumptions, they are helpful in telling the organization what products the organization should produce and how, where, for whom it should be produced. Then organization එකට එයාලටම ආවේනික වෙච්ච වටිනාකම්, එයාලටම ආවේනික වෙච්ච අගනාකම්, එයාලගේම assumptions හරි තියෙනවා. ඒව මත පදනම් වෙලා organization එක තීරණය කරනවා මොන වගේ products ද ඒගොල්ලන් produce කරන්නේ. ඒ වගේම කොහොමද ඒවා produce කරන්නේ, කා සඳහාද produce කරන්නේ, කොහෙද produce කරන්නේ, මේ හැම දෙයක්ම guide කරන්නේ organization එකේ culture එක තමයි. අය organization එකේ values set එකක් තියෙනවා නේ. ඒව මත පදනම් වෙලා අපි තීරණය කරනවා මොකක්ද අපේ business එක වෙන්න ඕනේ, අපි කාටද serve කරන්න ඕනේ, අපි කල යුත්තේ මොනවාද, ඒ වගේම අපි නොකල යුත්තේ මොනවාද, ඒකත් සඳහන් වෙනවා නේ. ඔය හැමදේම එකතු වෙලා තමයි goals and products define වෙන්නේ organization එකක් ඇතුලේ. ඒක organization එකකින් organization එකට වෙනස් වෙනවා. It changes, it differs from organization to organization based on the nature of those organizations, right? So the culture acts as a powerful unifying force that restrains political conflict and promotes common understanding, agreement on procedures, and common practices. Now, culture acts as a unifying force. We sometimes say that the culture acts as a glue, you know, a glue which holds the organization together and promotes common understanding among everyone. When a culture is shared by all the people in the organization, then there's a common understanding to everyone that this is the way to behave. This is the way to work. This is what we should do. This is what we should not do. Right? There's a common understanding among everyone about how things happen. And there's a common agreement on procedures and practices. Right? And also it has the ability to restrain certain political conflict as well. Now, strong cultures, they have the ability to restrain as one to certain political struggle. Then organization එකක් අමතක කරන්න. දැන් මේ culture එක කියන එක ඇත්තටම ඒක හරියම abstract concept එකක් නෙනේ. ඒක කාටවත් දකින්න artifacts වලින් වගේ culture එක express වෙන්න පුළුවන්. right? ඕගොල්ලන් ඒක සමහරට ඉගෙනගෙන ඇති සමහර modules වලදී නමුත් ඒක ඇත්තටම අපිට ස්පර්ශ කරලා දකින්න පුළුවන් දෙයක් නෙමෙයි. ගොඩක් අවස්ථාවලදී නේ. ඒක හරියම සංගවිච්ච concept එකක්. නමුත් ඒක හැමෝම accept කරනවා. දැන් ඕගොල්ලන් university එකට එනවා. හරි? university එකට එනවා. ඕගොල්ලන් හැමෝම දැන් first year එකේ ඉද්දි ඕගොල්ලන් university එකේ culture එකට අනුගත වෙනවා. නේ? ඕගොල්ලන් මොනවාද? දැන් ගෑනු ළමයි නම් ඕගොල්ලන් කෝඩ් එක ගොතනවා නේ? සමහරට ඕගොල්ලන්ට ඩ්‍රෙස් කෝඩ් එකක් දෙනවා නේ? පිරිමි ළමයිටත් එහෙම ඩ්‍රෙස් කෝඩ් එකක් දෙනවා. ඕගොල්ලන් ඒවා ෆලෝ කරනවා. දැන් ඒ ඕගොල්ලන් කල්චර් එකට අනුගත වෙනවා නේ. ඒව කාලයක් තිස්සේ ඒ කල්චර් එක ඇතුලේ හැදීගෙන ආපු යම් යම් practices, behaviors තමයි. දැන් ඒවා ඕගොල්ලන් නිරායාසයෙන් ඒවට අනුගත වෙනවා. ඒවා ෆලෝ කරනවා. ඒතර common understanding එකක් හැමෝටම තියෙනවා මේ වගේ. හරිද? organization එකකත් ඒ වගේ තමයි. Then if we all share the same basic cultural assumptions, agreement on other matters is more likely. Now, if everyone in an organization share the same set of assumptions, cultural assumptions, then it is convenient for all the members to agree on other matters within the business very easily. If everyone has a common understanding about what they are doing, what products and services they produce, and the business processes and the nature of work that they do, then it's very easy to agree to any changes that happen. Also, on the other hand, it can act as a powerful restraint on change, especially technological change. Also, certain cultures can be very repulsive to change, right? That සමහර සංවිධාන සංස්කෘතින් තියෙනවා ඒවා ගොඩාක් කාලයක් තිස්සේ ඒ විදිහටම රැකගෙන ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. ඒ cultures හරිම strong rigid cultures ඒගොල්ලන් change එකක් වෙනවට කැමති නැහැ. right? Changes organization එක ඇතුලේ සිද්ධ වෙනවට කැමති නැහැ. ඒ නිසාම සමහර technological changes වෙන්න හදනකොට organization එක ඇතුලේ ඒවට resist කරනවා. right? දැන් සමහර සාම්ප්‍රදායික සංස්කෘතියක් කියලා අපි හිතමු. ඒතර ගොඩක් සාම්ප්‍රදායික සංස්කෘතියක් නම් වෙනසක් වෙනවට ගොඩක් දුරට අකමැති නේ. මේක අපේ සංස්කෘතිය විනාශ කරන්න ආපු එකක්. එහෙමනේ හිතන්නේ නේ. This changes our way of working. This changes our procedures. This changes the values that we are holding within the organization. Right? Due to a new technology, our traditional ways of working are going to change. Right? So therefore, there might be a powerful restraint or resistance coming from the culture as well. But what you have to understand is that culture is not something which is 100% stable one. Cultures can change. Cultures can evolve. Right? And cultures or ගොඩක් strong values set එකක් තියෙනවා වගේම culture එකේ සමහර elements කාලයත් එක්ක වෙනස් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. right? එකම ඉස්සර ඉඳන්ම තිබ්බ culture එකේ ඇඳිලා තියෙන organisation එකක් කියන්නේ හොඳ organisation එකක් කියලා කියන්න බෑ. right? සමහර culture එකේ elements වෙනස් වෙන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට culture එක සමහරලාට accept කරන්න ඕනේ මේ organisation එකේ වෙන්න යන changes, technological changes. ඒවත් එක්ක culture එක බද්ධ වෙන්න ඕනේ. right? So therefore, culture has to learn to exist, coexist with these changes which happen in the organization. That is where we say that the organization is successful. If the culture and the technology, if the cultures and the changes can coexist with each other, well, if they can blend in well, then we say it's a successful organization. Right? So that is about culture. So any questions? Anything that was not clear for you, or any ideas or suggestions that you would like to give? Anything you would like to know, you can let me know. No changes that you would like to suggest, or any ideas you would like to add to what we have discussed? Nothing. Right. So if there are nothing from your end, then this is the content that we expected to cover for today. So this is the, let's call it a day then, if you don't have any questions. Right. So let's continue on Thursday with the second part of chapter 3. So thank you for your participation and engaging with the lecture. I really appreciate it. So until we meet on Thursday then, have a great day, all of you. Right? So let's call it a day for today. All right, so one person is asking about the assignment. Yes, the assignment will be uploaded to your LMS, right? I will also let our coordinator know this. We'll make your assignment available on the LMS soon. So keep checking the LMS for any notices and you will get your first assignment within this week, right? So any notices regarding your assignment will be posted on the LMS. Right? Thank you for bringing that up. Afan, yes, thank you, Afan. It's a group assignment like we mentioned at the beginning of the lecture, right? Where 5 members should be present in every group. Right, okay, then no more questions. Then I'm going to end the meeting, right? More questions coming in? Right, no. Okay then. Have a great day.